What's happening, good people? Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. I was talking to I wasn't talking to him. He had sent me a message, less stuff, more freedom, living the van life. And he was like, "Man, you haven't been live in a month." I'm like, "Nah, it hasn't been that long." And I genuinely did not believe him until I looked at my joint and I haven't been live in a month. So yeah, it's hard out here for him. Oh jeez. Hey MJ, Nathan, Sharp May, what's happening? What is this? Kids Lego toys. Um, I have been sick, but not like down sick. I've been pretty much coughing up phlegm for like 2 weeks, which I didn't think was possible. But enough of that TMI. It's been an interesting thing, and I had a couple videos that I was trying to do quickly, and it would have. It's the Greasel, which is a nice power station, by the way. But with Greasel, I took forever to get them their last video, and they were like, "Yeah, we noticed that, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I'm gonna try and get it out. I am going to get it out faster than it was before, and I wanted to get it out last week, like right on the heels of when I put out the Yolandas, but then I caught this foolishness or whatever." um, So I've been taking my elderberry and OJ the juice man and water, and it's been interesting. It's been annoying, to be honest, because usually when you start coughing up, you're done. You're kind of breaking through. Your cold is broken, but this joke have been breaking for it's been a while, and it's still lingering, as you may be able to hear. Oh my gosh. Dang, I forgot my cable upstairs. So I have been running my house from solar a lot. It has been saving me a good bit of money. I typically, without solar intervening at all, I could probably have $4 days. And with solar, I've been having $0 days, which is dope. Or I've been having like 60 cent days or 50 cent days, which is fantastic. So my average daily use is about $1. And there's fees and stuff like that that the company tax on and all of that jazz. But my actual usage has been really dope. I pretty much cut our bill in almost half in some instances over the last like 2 months, which is fantastic. I try to like coax my wife into being more on board by saying, yeah, we'll put that extra like $50 into like our travel fund or something like that. So she was on board with that, but she's getting annoyed, and she has identified a couple times when she feels annoyance, and there's a couple things go into play there, which I was explaining to her, and she was appreciative of, because the Oops Mega 2 has been very vital to me being able to be off grid for longer. But I've been having these issues with the Oops Mega 2, right? And just to fill you guys in, I believe I'm on my third machine. I think. I'm pretty sure I sent one back to them. Maybe I'm either on my I'm on my third. I have to be on my third because I had two that have the issue. I had one that was supposed to not have the issue, and that one has the issue as well. But I was actually able to revive the third one, so it's working for me now. So I need to send the second one back, and I need to figure out what we're going to do with the third one, because it's not in the lot of devices that don't have the issue. The issue is, which is something that maybe not a lot of people run into, is my battery voltage or my pack voltage is going way too low. I talked about this on the last 3 live streams or 2 live streams. When it gets that low, it causes a problem. how I figured out how to address it on at least my second one, no, my third one, is I just let it sit for a few days dead, and then I just plug it back in and it started to charge. Now I tried that with the second one because I haven't shipped off the second one yet, and it did not work. So that one just absolutely does not work. But I mentioned them because what's up, subject to change? I haven't read your joint yet, but I see your name. I mentioned that to say that because of the Mega 2 kind of being in flux, it's been throwing my system out of whack because the Mega 2 has an incredibly capable inverter of 2500 watts. And when that's down, I'm really down to just having my AC 200P as my most reliable inverter that goes up to 2000 watts. Second place behind that is my Duran. Third place behind that is kind of like my All Powers 15 R1500. So our washing machine, she mainly runs into the issues when she tries to wash and dry. We don't really have those issues too many other times where a power station will die or an inverter will flake on me. Probably wasn't a good idea to go live, but you know, y'all can hear my voice, y'all crazy. So maybe this one won't be too long. So I'm gonna throw her, I wish she was down here because I'm gonna throw her under the bus a little bit because she was like, yeah, I can feel myself being annoyed with certain things not working when I want them to. And I'm like, I understand that. I just need you to know that it's not that these devices aren't capable. I'm down one device that kind of is a linchpin of these things working properly. And she was like, okay, I can understand that. Thanks for explaining it to me. And I was like, I appreciate it. So whenever I pull us offline, I'm working my way to the transfer switch. Whenever I pull us off the grid, the stove goes down. So she gonna tell me, I'm really yesterday, like I'm really getting I almost want to call her down here. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can get her attention. I want to throw her under the bus while she's here to talk crazy and defend herself. What am I bugging you for? Hey, come pull up a chair for a minute or three.
I can do that. I'm gonna talk to the dude.
Are you?
No.
No.
No. I mean, I was just chatting.
Who were you chatting with?
Claudia.
Okay. Fair enough.
Hello.
It's been a while since you've been on the stream.
I know. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? All three of y'all.
Post office, boy. I'm telling you, man. Post office be hating. So I want to throw this one under the bus, y'all. So she had a valid issue about the washing machine. I explained it to her, whatever. Don't y'all know this woman gonna tell me a day or so ago, like, babe, I'm really starting to get annoyed with solar. And you know why? It's like because the time is not.
It's the little things. Like, do not interrupt my flow and my routine when it comes to life. Like, we don't have a clock in the kitchen and except for the stove, and it's always off. So one of the things that we agreed to.
Did we?
Yeah, it was. I told you, like, the little things was make sure that there's.
But did we agree?
We talked about it.
We talked about it.
I mentioned it, and there was a you. I don't know if I want to say agreed, but you understood. Like, all right, true. Whatever we would call that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an agreement.
And it's just annoying over time.
The clock.
I can't. No, it's a snowball. Everything is connected for me. It's a snowball.
The clock.
It's a part of it. A part of it. Yeah. Cause I wake up in the morning, I'm ready to be productive. You know what I mean? I'm like just bright, and it's bright in the house, and I go downstairs to start my washing, and ain't even the whole machine ain't even plugged in. Sometimes, and it's like, or when I'm trying to like really make progress, right? Today is the day where I'm gonna wash, dry, and fold, and then it's like, well, okay, so the dryer is like making the lights go dim, and then everything shuts off. Okay, well, I can't like just keep it rocking, you know what I mean? I gotta go find something else to do. And then I gotta rely on you to, and that's just like part of it, you know what I mean? Like I want to vacuum and just
Yeah, this
maintaining my
stuff
home.
mostly works.
My dishwasher, I want to run the dishwasher, and it's like, oh.
The crazy part is we could have these same issues at any time. It's more frequent when we're on solar, for sure. But the dishwasher sometimes is spinning up when the fridge is doing something, and it trips the circuit. So it's not like a foreign concept. No?
It's a foreign concept.
It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I have to go and trip the breaker for you.
It's like maybe twice in like 15 years.
I'm just saying it's an inconvenience that happened. It's not like our 15? Grid power is. You said twice in 15 years?
Yeah.
It's twice in like a 6-month period.
No,
maybe.
It's no. Like, no.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Twice in like a 12-month period. It'll happen a time or two a year.
No. So I just, again, like it feels like I'm being hindered in my ability to just like, flow. And I just, it becomes irritating. And then I just feel like if you could, like, and then he'll turn everything on. You stop even setting the clock whenever you turn everything on. And I'll turn and I'll look and I'll see it blink. And it's like, woosah.
We're going to have to get us a clock in the kitchen. Are we going to minimize this? I actually thought about trying to get one of my phones that has an always on display, but I use those phones regularly.
I need something to be able to look up, not have to go. Like if I'm washing or, my hands are messy. I don't want to be like, trying to figure out, trying to like use that part of my, like just look, clock. Okay, great. Like I'm good. What?
I'm just tickled by it. It's like these very small inconveniences are very important to you.
Yeah.
Just like a woman to be ridiculous about small stuff, right? That's just how it goes.
Just like a guy to just think everything is small and just not important. It's just irrelevant. And all is well in the universe, despite the fact that everything is just not.
Now I'm about to kick you off. Do you want to read some of the comments?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't know where the comments would start because I can. What's up, Jay?
Hey,
it's Jay kind of lives near us, but not near us.
Oh.
So just keep your feelings to yourself.
Keep my thoughts.
Keep your thoughts to yourself.
Where? Like Pittsburgh, outskirts.
I feel like keep your thoughts to yourself. Thank you. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
You remember like Jeanette in Greensburg, and I think he's out that way.
Okay.
Man,
Do you want me to invite him to dinner or nothing?
No, absolutely not. He was actually in he was in an area closer to us one time, but we couldn't kind of get it together. So Mo's Prep and Tech, what's happening? I don't nobody care about losing no people charge. Let's see.
I will say though, when I had to pay the electricity bill, and
speak loud now. I feel like let your voice be heard.
Like we were a month late when I finally decided to go through the bills, and because we had gotten a little notice, and the notice wasn't threatening. Like anytime like I take too long to pay the bills, like the notice is like 10 days shut off. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like a shut off notice. It was like, hey, your bill is past due. And I was like, oh, why are they being so nice? It's because like the first bill that was past due was like $25. And then the second bill, because the bill due was, the two combined, which was like another $25. So it was only $50 for two whole months.
And our bills sometimes can be like $80 to $130.
Yeah, for just 1 month.
Sharon said
Yes,
that.
they absolutely.
On the transfer switch, but my wife always wins. This nigga smoke panels in the backyard, man. His backyard. I feel for that woman.
As long as they off the balcony and the back porch, like, be good for the summertime.
Subject to change. It's not about the action that follows. It's about the feeling in
Or
the
he can do
moment.
both.
You know what I mean? It's not about me. What's the word? Accommodating. It's about the feeling of inconvenience, and it's just like I can't do nothing about that.
I feel like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to like overcompensate a little bit, like because you have us in this like state of flux, like like wrap your arms around the situation so that like my day to day isn't impacted too
significantly.
Yeah, it makes me think of it real what she was trying to say. Due diligence.
Babe, just stop.
Okay. But I am looking forward to the transfer switch. We planned on doing that.
That's what I'm going to talk about at some point because I don't know how much of a solution it is. He's basically saying like he wants his bill usage to be zero, but then his kid comes along and wants to cook some ramen. Just like, you messed up my $0 bill
over some ramen.
Some foolishness.
Happy wife, happy life.
Charge. What's up, LA Times? The clock. Fam. You know what it is. Brother Dwayne. My NO brethren. What's happening?
Oh, snap. Nice.
Wait a minute. I'm a guy and I think the small details matter.
They do.
That's fair. What's it like to feel that way?
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Oh, really? Huh.
Is that him?
No. Jay
oh,
is the
snap.
other guy.
So we got someone else.
So where do you live, Mose? Prep and Tech now. What's that? Wow. Listen, man, I was watching this stuff called Swamp Stories about Gangsta Williams, and it was interesting to say the least. Baby's brother. I was telling you about it.
Yeah.
This dude was a menace. A menace. Let's see, Michigan now. Okay, cool. All right, gotcha. So if the feeling is the inconvenience of not having the stove on, so the clock's not there, the action of putting a clock on wall fixes that. There you go. That's what we got.
Now I will say though, it does get on my nerves every now and then when I'm ready to get in the kitchen, I'm ready to get it popping, and I look over and I say, oh man, babe, can you come? And I had to I have to balance that with it's really not a big deal though, especially if he jumps up and he, it's just a second, for him to take care of it. So it's not a big deal. It's like I have to be intentional with choosing not to allow it to be a big deal.
Well, thank you, baby. I appreciate that.
Because you come through. So yeah, I appreciate that. Now when you stop coming through quickly, swiftly, then it's causing.
I would never. I feel like I can't afford to not get that stove on when you ask. I feel like I can't afford it. And then when she cooks, it'll be like a kilowatt. So that's not bad. Typically, we have like 18 kilowatt hour days. And when she needs to cook, it'll be about 1,000 watts or kilowatt. So that's not bad usage. And as soon as she's done cooking, she'll either let me know or I'll ask her if she's done. And she'll be like, yeah. And then I'll put us back on solar power.
Yeah. And I'd be like, at that point, it feels like it would be nice if I had a switch like here, not having to go downstairs. It'd be nice if I had a switch where I could turn the oven on and I can manage it myself as opposed to having to rely, on you.
True.
But I mean, ever since the bill being low, I've accepted, life on solar.
Oh, another thing that happens to her sometimes is because, being on solar power it's an ebb and flow of using the power and storing the power. So sometimes she'll be doing like a high draw activity and a power station will die. You know what I mean? So what I'm gonna start doing, I shouldn't say I'm gonna start doing it. What I've been thinking about is like whether a power station has my wife's stamp of approval, even though it has nothing to do with her. So if it doesn't have a 2,000 watt inverter, it's like it doesn't have her stamp of approval. 1,600 watts, it's like I can't use that when she's around because she's liable to do anything.
I thought it was interesting when he was like, well, my wife's up when it came to power.
Pretty much.
But I also get irritated when like in the middle of the night, we're on power and then it goes down and it's like, oldest son's clock is now off and if there was a night light using the power, that's off. And it's like even in the nighttime when we're sleeping, it feels like it can be a disruption. It feels like a disruption.
Yeah.
An unnecessary disruption.
And that's just me kind of finding my way and also trying to milk as much power as possible. But that comes down to like power dumping and things like that, just making making do with what I have because watt-hour capacity is limited. So I may have to switch a power station, or I may have to just take a power station and power dump into it. But that's getting technical, so I'll spare you all of that.
It's like I'm used to it now.
All right. Thanks for coming out.
Welcome.
I gotta kick you out of the way.
I gotta go.
You don't have to, but I'm about to talk about stuff you ain't gonna want to be around for.
Yeah, as soon as I feel bored, I'll get right on up. Like, this is y'all.
All right, let's see if we got any more comments. Let's see here. Michigan.
No.
I couldn't live in PA though. Those hills and mountains are scary to drive in the wintertime.
Yeah, that's why I won't go nowhere in the wintertime. Like literally, like I don't get to see my neighbors. We'd be all happy to see each other whenever the weather break. Like, hey.
Thanks, subject has changed. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mega 3 would have been nice. The Mega 3 is the one I was watching Minuteman Prep's Mega 5 video, and the Mega 3 has the batteries that can be charged directly from solar, and the Mega 5 doesn't, which was weird. It's a strange situation. So the transfer switch seems to be a solution for me, but it's problematic because as far as I understand it, the transfer switch only allows me to have one power station powering everything at one time, which is problematic because having two power stations on my male-to-male cables allows me to balance the load between two power stations so things last longer. So I'm really struggling with the idea of a transfer switch because, or I could just get two transfer switches, which I'm not going to do. So the only real solution, considering the limitation of my hardware, is to continue using the male-to-male cables, or entertain doing like two transfer switches, which it will involve an electrician. So I feel like it would have been nice. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. It's all good.
You got water?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. So I don't know, man, because how it works right now, my panel is split into two sides. My left side is basically most things in my house, and the right side of my panel is like my kids' back outlets and the air fryer and the microwave. And that's really it. So what I'm thinking about is taking and getting the transfer switch and yeah. You can always do peanut butter and jelly. I gave them chicken and fries last night. Oh, I didn't think about this. Let me see here. I'll pull this over here. And that doesn't help at all. But maybe. Okay, that could work. That could work. All right. So it's split into two sides. Like I'm rolling over a wire. It's split into two sides, and most of my my house load is on the left side. So I can actually have the transfer switch cover most of my outlets, right? But because it's a single kind of situation, hopefully I'm not reiterating too much, but I want to drive the point home. It's a single situation, but whereas like right now, I have, because here's the interesting thing about using those suicide cables or male to male cables. What a lot of people don't tell you is they only power one side of your panel. The other side is pretty much dead. So you'll only have power to the things that are plugged into that side that you've energized. So right now, because I have two cables, I energize both sides through different power stations. And in all actuality, I could energize both sides from one power station, and I have tried it with my Oops Mega 2, and it works. It has a 2500 watt inverter, so it has the capacity for the most part to run my base load, which is about 300 watts in the summer, about 200 in the winter. It's 300 in the summer because I'm running a couple extra fans and things like that. So it can run that 300 watts, and then it has that extra 2,000 watts left over to catch the air fryer, to catch the microwave. But when you get into a situation where you got like your 300 watt base load, and you might be running like a gas dryer, which uses 500, or you might be running a washer, which can fluctuate every time the tub spins up to like 4, 6, 700, then you're getting into a trickier situation. So it's like, if my wife is washing clothes and drying clothes, that's 300 plus 1,000. Let's just round up or round it out. That's 1,300 watts. And then if she wants to run the microwave, we dead in the water. So what I'll do is, I may plug the washer into the washer and the dryer will go directly into the Oops Mega 2. Or sometimes I'll have to plug the washer in the dryer into an outlet that's powered off of the AC 200p. Or I don't think anything else can actually run my washer and dryer. Not my dryer. I think most things can run my washer. Most of my bigger power stations can run my washer. But I could have a separate power station down there, like maybe the Grisel or the Yolannis, which has a 1,600 watt inverter. I could use that and run that directly into the washer and be able to do that, which is actually an idea that came to mind. So it's an interesting thing. Whereas like the transfer switches, yeah, it's gonna be easy because what it'll do is I can put most of my circuits on a single power station, and then my stove can still have power because my mains. I like how over across the pond people say mains. My mains power is still on. It's just gonna be going to maybe like two loose circuits, and oh, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go grab it. Okay. If you going to get it, yes, you should go to Papa John's and get me a papadilla. You know how to order a papadilla where you take the onions off and get extra chicken, right?
I did not.
Yeah, that's how I always order them.
Okay.
Because you get three toppings. You get a veggie, meat, and a sauce or something like that, or a cheese, or bacon or something like that. For mine,
What kind of doors?
the buffalo.
Okay.
So you take the onions off and then you put double chicken.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. I wouldn't have that issue. So maybe I'll leave by nature of the transfer switch. My stove is going to be still working. And maybe in terms of being strategic, whatever circuit runs my maybe my dishwasher and my microwave, those three circuits can stay. I only have about 12 circuits, 14 if you count the 240 because it takes up two slots. So if I get a 10 port transfer switch, I can cover 1 through 10 or one, however it goes, and then leave two out along with my main for my stove, and then I'd be pretty good. I'd be covered. But then I would have to rely on one power station, which in all actuality, this is where things get kind of technical. See if you can follow me here. I could still turn my main power off and have the stove be off, and then just mail to mail energize my remaining how to explain that? I could still energize my remaining circuits that are not on the transfer switch. Because if my main situation is here, and then I have a 10 port transfer switch, once I switch those joints to the transfer switch, the main still has power. So I turn, boom, big power's off. This is all dead now, the remaining switches. So I would have the ability to energize those for most of the day on a separate power station. So it could work. Reliance, yeah, thanks, most Pepper Tech. What's up, Walls? Um, it would really be ideal if. Oh, I see what you're saying, Jay. So an easy single circuit transfer switches on Amazon. I don't know if what you mean to say is that, but you kind of got my brain going. So instead of installing two big transfer switches, I could kind of have a big one and a small one, I guess. That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. Or the thing that doesn't make sense to me, but you could flip it in the inverse. It doesn't make sense to go opposite though, because I could have the transfer switch basically cover. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to go the opposite way. What I was going to say is have the transfer switch cover the big items for the majority of the day, which is useless because they don't run a whole lot, and then have the mail to mail cables or cable because I would only need one, maybe. No, I still need two. Yeah, that just gets complicated because a lot of the things. So I could throw a transfer switch and have all of my right side on the transfer switch, and then all of my left side could still be on mail to mail. And then I could go to the transfer switch. Well, that's interesting. I could go to the transfer switch and switch that on to main power when I need it, and then switch it off when I don't, which is compelling as well. Y'all, I don't know what to do. And this is why I'm on this live to talk it through with y'all, because I don't know how to play it. But I do need to figure it out. We found someone who's relatively affordable, willing to do the work, but we had to stall on it because we had some other situation to deal with. I think it could be, I don't know if it's the raccoons. We still have the raccoons in our chimney, which is, it's less unnerving, to be honest, because they haven't tried to come into the house in any capacity. They just be kind of chilling in the chimney bay. And I don't necessarily know how chimneys work in terms of how easy it would be for one of them to try and come into the house. I don't even want to talk about that. Please don't let me know how easy it would be. I don't need to lose sleep tonight because of that. But I know we had a couple things kind of pending where it was just I think the guy was going to be thinking about charging us like $1,500 to do the replacement of the panel itself, and then I would see how much he would be willing to do the adding of the transfer switch. The place where my panel is in relation to where my power stations are is a little awkward, so I have to run a cable over there, or I would have to run the inlet thing somewhere near my power stations, which is possible, but I feel like it will cost more. So I'm really trying to ponder what to do here, because the mail-to-mail cables, they work. They're a little bit inconvenient, a lot inconvenient if you consider my wife's situation, which I understand. Like I have two different power stations. My AC 200p is up here on the main floor. That runs one side of my power. That's what's running the house right now. Everything you see that's powered on. I switched my EB70. I'm using my EB70 to power my light that's in front of my face. And I have my camera on the EB70. But this light that's on, the stuff that's kind of going on in the house, is all powered off of solar. We're running off of solar right now, solar battery power. They got into my house. That's crazy. I really don't like raccoons. I got a pellet gun. I need to zero in my scope, and there will be blood. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, but so when I have to switch over because I have one nice power station down in the basement and one nice power station up here, I have to disconnect up here and then I go downstairs and disconnect and then I can turn my panel back on. So it's inconvenient. I have considered bringing my AC 200p downstairs just so both of them are downstairs. But the main reason why the AC 200p is up here is because I've always wanted to have good access to power up here on my top floor to be able to run my window air conditioner. And I don't know how relevant that is now. What's up?
Which one is Sandy?
The third one. You ordering from like an app or something?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you live a thug life.
Well, you order from the website.
Yeah, because I'm better than you.
The app is better.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Any app you put on your phone compromises your like your phone in some capacity. I mean, it does.
Oh, where's your car at? I need the.
It's upstairs on my dresser. So I do feel like something has to shake. I'm gonna bake a cake. Wrong with all the real, Jack all fake. Jeez, man. Anywho, I have to figure something out because I really want the stove to be able to work for her whenever she needs it. And the stove could still stay off. I don't think there's a reason to stay off, but I'm finding my groove here with powering my house. Last night I actually took because another thing is during the night I can use really any of my big power stations because nobody's up doing anything. So my base load is like 100 watts, 200 watts. So it doesn't matter if I have a 2000 watt inverter. It doesn't matter if the inverter can power on the dryer, if it can take the inrush power and do it. Not every power station. The AC 200p and the Duran Duran maybe can handle the dryer, but the Oops Mega 2 can. So those two can. So I thought about bringing an AC 200p downstairs because that would be a better pairing. But what power station would I have up here? And then my 1000 watt array would be going into the basement now, along with my what else? So I have a 600 watt array. Hey, I have a 600 watt array going into the Duran Duran or the all powers, but typically the Duran Duran because it has more capacity. Then I have a 1200 watt array going into the Mega, and then I have a 1000 watt array going into the AC 200p if I brought it downstairs. But then what would I bring up here? Because I got nothing. um, I actually have a 200 watt array on my porch that I'm having issues. I think the HQST is possibly giving the Eclipse Renogy panel. I don't know. Something's going on there where it's not producing enough power. I guess what I could do is I could take my 400 watt Bouge RV and kind of run it into this area that I am now. And maybe the Super Vito Man or the Yolanis would be a good power station here because all it needs to do is to be able to like power this setup, my laptop, my monitor, my portable monitor, charge some cell phones and things like that. And with the AC 200p having its limited port selection, it would be nice to have a different power station right here. It's sitting on top of the Alcatel. I actually fired off another support email to Alcatel, like not even trying to detail the issue. I'm just like, can somebody please just answer my email? It's a shame that I got this power station from them and I can't get no support for it. Where you going? Where you going? Oh, which McCollum made the better Papa Diaz? They did.
You just told me that when I said I was
I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't think of it. I mean, they've actually produced good ones too. It was just like the ones over there was fire.
Yeah, yeah. The last ones you brought back is
My bad. Let me see what y'all snapping and trapping about. All right, let's see here. I don't think I really read a whole bunch of comments, so let's take it from the top. Okay. I've been powering my 10,000 watt BTU air conditioner some this year with my EcoFlow. Nice. Have my power stations get full. Hey, man, look, that's love right there. Cold water all day. Yeah, man, I was probably out for the count. I know, I appreciate that. $4 a day, that can be expensive. Mine is around 32 cents a day. How is yours 32 cents a day? I guess you be moving and shaking, so I kind of get that. Nice, 40 cents a day. That's what's up. Oh man, out smoking tea. What's happening? The AC Convo is on sale dirt cheap now. Really? What's dirt cheap? Can you define that, most Purpin Tech? Living basically on solar, so slow powered solar. Okay. We got a bunch of haze. We covered that. We hide that. Um, Battery powered clock. Hey, that'll do it. That's a good look. I'm gonna jump on Amazon. Maybe I could get like a little magnetic dip. That could be popped somewhere easily. The microwave has the ability to put a clock on it, but it's a little different. I just have to be more diligent about setting the clocks and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, my wife's special. I get it, but she's special. Let's see. The way I save money cooking is by using my instant pot for a lot of stuff, and my microwave acts as an air fryer and convection oven. I cook during the day and warm up food later on. I dig that. I have a hot plate. I'm calling it a hot plate, but it's an induction cooktop uh, that we've used. My wife has used it a time or two as well. So I've really gotten her buy-in a lot for what we need. She'll have to do something real quick. Like she needed to boil some water for her elderberry juice that she makes. And she was like, "Why don't you give me the cooktop?" And I'm like, man, talk about clutch. So that's what's up. I rely mainly on grid power for the air condition. I switch from an oven to an air fryer and I can run it off of solar. That's what's up. I dig it. I use individual transfer switches on each 15 amp circuit. I have 5 of them and can use different power stations depending on the breaker load. This is so interesting, Jay. This has really got my brain going. I know you sent me some pictures recently. Maybe send me, if you haven't sent me some pictures of, I think you have sent me pictures of your what are those things called? Transfer switches. I'm trying to think of how individual transfer switches would help me. I really have to ponder that. That's a fantastic premise, especially for somebody who knows how to do that kind of stuff. If you could just turn your power off and run a joint and have it sitting there, that's actually really, really cool. My transfer switch powers everything in my house but my garage and stove and microwave. I use an extension cord for the microwave. I regret getting the 4-circuit transfer switch. Should have gotten a 10. I was talking to Jason Noy because I was curious if you could have multiple circuits match with us a individual circuit of a transfer switch, but he was saying it doesn't work that way. That would have actually been cool because I think you have to allot for the idea that a circuit maxes out at 15 amps. And 20 amps if you have those T plugs, which I don't have any T plugs. They're basically the outlets instead of the straight circle or negative positive. They have a T on some of them. You may see them on some of your bigger power stations if you know what I'm talking about. Setite sent me a picture around here somewhere. That's interesting, that individual circuit. But if I could figure out a way to put like 3 or 4 circuits on one transfer switch itself circuit, that would be fire. Because I don't use a lot of power. And then I will only need, say, like a six, whatever they call 6-circuit transfer switch. But if I bought one, I would get a 10 because I want to cover as much as possible. And 10 allows me to pretty much cover my whole house. Okay, we talked about that. I use a clothes spinner and then hang to dry versus clothes dryer. Yeah, that's interesting, Lowe's. Prepper Princess had a really good tip where she said, what you can do is throw a dry towel halfway through your dryer load, and that dry towel will basically absorb a lot of the moisture. So your dryer doesn't need to work as hard. And the only reason why I don't do that is because I don't want the lint from the drying towels getting on the clothes. I feel like my wife would be really upset with me about that. Excuse me. That's not bad. $300 ain't bad to install it. Yep. I seen one for like 3 something on Amazon. Freaking raccoons. Must be raining. My main panel is in my closet and it doesn't get more awkward than that. Facts. If the raccoons are still in the chimney, you might be able to count that as an area. Or they're gonna be avoided. They're gonna be avoided in one way or the other. The only reason why I haven't fired shots at this thing is because I think it had babies in my chimney, and I don't want to put the pedal to the metal on one of them joints, and then these babies just they pass away in my chimney. I don't think I'm seeing or hearing any activity of babies being left behind. And I had this guy come and spray an eviction liquid, and he missed the chimney the first time because we had a hole in our balcony area that kind of looked like where they were coming in. So he didn't spray that particular chimney. He sprayed some other openings. But now he sprayed the chimney and it's just not working. I don't know if the smell, the Joker got accustomed to the smell that quickly because it was basically born into it so it doesn't bother them. I don't understand, but that Joker will not leave. And we got a contractor kind of ready to come out and put a chimney cap on there. But I got to make sure, the raccoon is out of there. You talk about it's not stressful anymore, but initially it was stressful. Rabies and stuff like that. It's a crazy situation to have to deal with. They tore holes in my roof, living in my crawl space. Water damaged the ceiling and the laundry, and it fell through. Dude, that's crazy. get yourself an AC300 once you have the transfer switch set up. They have a bunch of modes in their menus to help you save money. The transfer switch is a quality of life experience with those UPS modes. I was super impressed with all of those modes that they have. The solar priority was like my main one that I was impressed with. It's like I'm so used to managing my micromanaging my solar power uh, that I don't know if I could ever settle into a solution that just works more than it needs me to manage it. It's almost very interesting. But unless I have good battery capacity, I'm always have to power dump. And I'm not really into buying batteries. So at some point I could be there, but I'm not into buying those batteries that they joint sell. I would much rather have like a server rack battery or something like that with a really good inverter, or that Pecron joint that Jason Noy did the video on that allows you to boost 12 volt to like 36 volts. I've been thinking about things like that a lot lately, and with Pecron making something that was like super easy to use, I'm excited about that. And my contact is supposed to be sending me one, so I'm looking forward to that. Sleeper, what's happening? Are you still alive? I'm still out here in these streets. Never knew you were on tonight. Man, I thought you was gonna be one of the first ones in here. Um Sleeper, have you emailed me before? Um I think you have. If not, I feel like try and contact me in some capacity. So I can have that connection with you. It's always nice to be able to reach out to you guys sometimes. So the AC300 combo is selling refurbished on eBay right now for 1,800. Um, here's the Bluetti devices. Their big devices are so expensive, man, and they've been out for so long. I can't quite justify 1,800 is good for them. I guess I guess I would want to see a device um that's been out for that long on eBay for 50 cents a watt. And I'm pretty sure it's a 3 kilowatt joint, so it's a little bit more than 50 cents a watt. I have one. It takes like 3 hours to dry clothes. Oh, that's crazy. I spin dry mine and hang it up. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I saw that. I have to figure out how to use that. I think what you have to do is you have to plug it into your outlet and also go to your circuit um, box and then kind of touch it near and to find out what circuit. But I think I could figure that out. Just me and my wife jump on some walkie talkies and we just kind of figure it out that way. The main thing is gonna be figuring out what everything is on, like my ceiling fans and my garage door opener, which is kind of like a plug anyway, so that doesn't matter as much. Like bathroom lights and things like that. What specific circuit are those on? Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to get into one of those devices just to kind of label everything, just to make it easy. I have my AC300 on custom mode from 3 to 7 p.m. where rates are higher where I live. I'm strictly off grid, but otherwise the rest of the day is PV priority. That's interesting. I feel like that kind of stuff would give me an exercise in being thoughtful for sure. Yeah, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. And in reality, you're really not supposed to expect. You're really not supposed to expect, you know, 50 cents a watt from the big three. So that's fair. That's a fair comparison just in terms of the price and things like that. Okay. Where my notes at? So right now, what I've kind of landed on is I try to keep my AC 200p not topped off because I hate a full device. I find a balancing act, but I try to keep it more on the full side. And I don't really even try very hard, to be honest. I'm not saying I'm being super intentional. But what I'm getting at is that, like right now, it's at 47%. I have it charging from, it's doing 12 volt from this. I have a battery clamp to 12 volt socket, and it's doing AC from my a fiery that's at the door, getting about 400. So it's getting about uh, almost 500 watts from being power dumped into, and it's using about 276. Realistically, 310 if I count the 40 watts of DC that I'm using. Um, what I've been trying to do is during my wife's active hours, because during the sun, it really comes down to when the sun goes down. Because during the sun, I can pretty much handle what she can throw at these devices. My Oops Mega 2 gets in about 800 watts on average. My AC 200p, when it's super sunny, is getting in 700 watts. So there's not a whole lot she can throw at this situation that's problematic. But because I try to stay off grid as long as possible, when I get into the night, I'm pretty much depleting my devices. So if she wakes up early in the morning and she's trying to get it popping, or if it hasn't been a really super bright day and I'm kind of like limping along off of overcast power or something like that, then yeah, when she wakes up, it's a bit of an inconvenience to have her try to run the vacuum cleaner because she wants the kids to clean up their cereal that they made a mess with. So I just kind of have to always keep an eye on her and manage things to make sure that she can work. So I'm really in a spot where I'm probably gonna be reaching out to the guy soon to see if that price is still good. And then I need to start researching transfer switches, and I need to be intentional with coming up with a game plan for which circuits are gonna be where. And this has helped me tremendously, just in terms of being able to kind of think through. Um, okay, I probably don't need the microwave to be on a switch. I probably don't need the dishwasher, and I think the dishwasher is tied to the fridge. So that sucks. So yeah, I'm gonna figure it out. That's for sure. It's just it takes a little bit of intentionality. And with something like a transfer switch and circuits and stuff being wired like that, I feel like for someone like me, I have to be very intentional with thinking through what's gonna be what, because I don't wanna, you know, have a situation where because I didn't think it through fully, I made a mistake that is not easily undone. But it's been fire kind of running. Let me see if I could show you. It's been kind of fire running my house from. Where is that typically at? I think I do that in Edge with Facebook. Geez. All right. My projected bill is $23. I don't believe that. Let's see here. See if I could share. Try to do that. See if that works. So right now we're looking at my bill view. This is my dream transfer switch on Amazon. Yeah, that's another thing I have to figure out, the 50 amp stuff. And it's not that it's complicated, but I have to come to terms with, okay, what does 50 amps mean in the grand scheme of things? Because I think we're trying to get upgraded to a 100 amp panel. I don't even know what our panel is right now, so that kind of helps put things into perspective as well. And if you think about how much power a device uses because it's running at 110 or 120, it's not really a whole lot of amps coming through there, except for like when it spikes. But anyway, check this out. You can see my average. Oh, I get my face out of the way. My average daily cost is 34 cents. Spent so far is $2.41. So on Monday, I used 60 cents of power. Nothing. 15 cents. Nothing. 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 $1.67. So that was a interesting usage day. Let's just scroll up and go to energy usage. So you can see right now I haven't used more than 8 kilowatt hours during this period, and it's only like 5 days. The period just started over. If we go back, you can see I haven't gone above 16 kilowatts. This day I used about 14, and sadly it doesn't show me. Maybe it will. Let me switch back to that. So my average daily cost during this period was $1.37. Which, if you take that into account for a 30-day period, that's longer than a 30-day period, but $60, you know what I mean? Versus $3, $4 days, which could be, 120, 130. So it makes sense. And you know what? I did a video about the truth about solar, and I was talking about how an EB70 with its 700 some odd watt hour capacity holds about, I think during that time, if a kilowatt is like 16 cents, let's just call it 12 cents of power, right? Hey, Nicole, good to see your name. Let's just say it holds about 12 cents of power, your EB70, 700 watt hours. Or for sake of simplicity, let's just say you have one that has 1,000 watt hours. You got one of those, AC 180s, a Delta Pro, a Delta 2, or well, who's the other one? Somebody else has another 1,000 watt. Anywho, if power costs, let's just round up and say 20 cents a kilowatt now, which is probably like more like 16, 18, 12 some places. If you're having, because the point of the video was that energy is so cheap, but energy is cheap. It's all relative. So if I got $3 days and I could have 20 cents stored in a power station because I have 1,000 watt hours, then that's actually not a bad comparison. You know what I mean? It's like if you only use about $2 of power a day, but your AC 200p stores 40 cents of power, that's actually a good look in the grand scheme of things, let alone how much power your panel has the capacity to produce compared to what you have the capacity to store. So if you have a 100 watt panel, you can typically produce half a kilowatt. If a kilowatt costs you like 18 cents, that joint will produce 9 cents of your power during the day. Now it's pennies, but power typically costs pennies. So in the grand scheme of things, you got a 400 watt panel with the ability to produce 2 kilowatt hours of power per day, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. That's no small chunk of change compared to how much power costs you in a day. If it can produce what? That would be 5, 1, 1.5, 2. at 18, 36 cents or 40 cents. Yeah, that's a 40-cent day from one 400-watt panel, which is pretty cool. I think it. I was looking at, and I wanted to. I may talk about this in another live stream, but I was looking at some 400-watt panels. I don't know if they were a scam or they sold or what, but when I was thinking about how much they cost, that those 400-watt panels, the guy was probably selling them for like $1.30. And just to give you some rough math here, as best I can, if those panels have the ability to produce 40 cents on a sunny day, if we just round up to 50 cents on a sunny day, and let's say you average 12 to 15 sunny days just in my type of climate. If you live somewhere else, then you're winning if it's sunny all the time. But 15 days by 40 cents, I don't know what that is. My brain is having a shortcut right now. If it was 15 times $1, that'd be $15. So it's like $7 per month. If you pay $125 for the panel and you could produce $7 a month, those panels will pay for themselves in almost a year. It used to be like a four. When you think about how we have those who've been into solar for a while, myself included, we started out with 100-watt panels costing $1 per watt. That payback period was 4 to 5 years, just in terms of keeping things simple. If you could get a 400-watt panel for $100, but you could get a 100-watt panel for $100, I mean, you times that by about four, you got about 4 or 5 years of a payback period on a 100-watt panel. So if you can have a power station that can take in bigger panels, and you could get those panels for about $100, that panel will pay for itself in like 14 months. And I'm sure the math is probably, it could be a little bit shorter than that. Because just because it's not sunny doesn't mean you're not producing power. You can get about 20 to 40% output on overcast days if they're like not so bright versus like bright. So I just think the math was crazy. I was talking with Set Tight and I was just like, man, this is bananas. And I was literally going to buy maybe about 4 to 6 of those panels. I'm not sure where I was going to land, but then the guy never responded to me and the post just kind of went away. So maybe he sold all of them. Panels don't go fast in my area, but they typically go. And what I've landed on is the fact that I'm going to try to avoid spending time being curious about like less than 300-watt panels. I feel like a 320 by Renogy or something like that. But I typically want to get into like 400-watt panels. I think that that's going to be my sweet spot outside of bifacials. Bifacials are going to be an incredible thing because the prices are so comparable to the non-bifacials. If you'll see a 400-watt for like $1.30, $1.25, something like that, a bifacial could be like 190, and it has the capacity to go from a 400-watt panel to possibly like a 600-700-watt panel, which is bananas. So just in case that didn't make sense, they typically say for every 100 watts of solar panels you have, you get 500 watt hours of power. So a 100-watt panel will give you 500 watt hours. You double that, you get about a kilowatt or 1,000 watt hours. You look at a 400-watt panel, you'll get about 2 kilowatts or 2,000 watt hours over the course of the day. And I chase the sun. There's no shame in that. I'll grab my panel and move panels that I can move. I can't move a whole bunch. I have a 400-watt that I move once a day. And I have 320 that I move twice a day. But nothing major. It's just in my front yard. I move it to get east sun, and then I move it to get south sun, and then rinse repeat in the morning. It's just a fantastic situation. I was watching this video of this lady who was saying, you have to be used to being without power. And I was just like, well, how cheap solar is, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm open to any thoughts of you guys who have transfer switches. I know most Prep and Tech has one. Jay has one. I'll definitely be in touch. Most, I feel like we've communicated on Facebook, but I don't think you're on there a whole lot in the Messenger. Messenger's doing some weird stuff now on the devices, but on the web it's still cool. So I'm hoping that I could catch up with you and kind of just chop it up. I know Jake's available for me to talk with. Subjects to change. We're in a different time zone, but I feel like we've talked via email as well. But this whatever this is going on here is getting on my nerves. So if y'all don't have any questions, we're gonna call this one a 1 hour joint. So I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna stick around for a second or two to see if y'all have any comments or questions. I haven't seen anything yet. I know MJ said she was just hanging out in the garden. I am looking to have this Greasel video hopefully out tomorrow, if not Thursday. That's the plan. And it's a cool little device. The angle I'm playing there is that for the size, it's pretty nice to have a 2200 watt inverter. I think that that's the appeal on that device. And also, I record content all the time, man. I really do. And I really have to work hard on putting that stuff on Patreon. For the folks that support me on Patreon, I appreciate it greatly. And my way of saying thank you for supporting the channel is to put stuff on Patreon that wouldn't necessarily go on YouTube because it's not packaged very well, but it's still enjoyable content in my opinion. For example, I have a video that I put out in the last month or two about me trying to use my air fryer on solar, which is pretty interesting. But I couldn't necessarily come up with a good thumbnail for it. And I recorded it on a questionable camera. So the quality is not that great. I actually thought the quality was going to be a lot better than it was. But it was like, it wasn't that great. All right, I'm out of here. See what y'all talking about. Oh, let me read this real quick. You need 50 amps to run your stove. I don't care about that. That's where that switch is needed. You'll be future-proofed in case your needs change in the future. That's a good point. Dang, you just got back. I'm going to rewatch. Have a great night. I'm afraid to put panels in the front yard. I ain't mad at that. I do have to venture into how to secure the panels. I think you should be able to run like some cable ties through them into like maybe a cinder block. I think that should be sufficient. And if somebody wants to come through and kind of cut that situation, I mean, what can you do? But I feel you. I feel you. I just I live on the edge and we don't have a whole lot of that kind of activity in our neighborhood. All right. Y'all be beautiful. I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to hang around and chat for a little bit, but I'm going to stop talking.